Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back, fitness family. Today we're going to go into part 2 of our nutritional series. If you remember, part 1 was our morning stack, our BPN mix that we use every single day, the energy that gets us going in the morning, what keeps us healthy throughout the year, what keeps those building blocks alive inside of us. But today we're going to go into part 2, which is what we do when we're out there in our training sessions. Today is part 2 of our nutritional series. It's going to be the intro workout type nutrition that we're going to take out there, whether we're swimming, biking, running, and we're going to break it down for you. So if you're an amateur runner and you're looking to go longer distances now, longer training sessions, you may be preparing for a longer race this year, maybe for the first time. I get a lot of questions of what works for you, what are you using out there, how are you training for those 2, 3, 4 hours. This will take you basically up until a half Ironman distance, a 70.3 distance. You'll be able to get away with these products only being out there without that dreaded bonk. When you're out there, you're riding, you're running, and then all of a sudden your energy falls off, you start to cramp up, and you've reached no man's land. Because once you get to that point, it's very hard to come back and have a strong performance for the rest of the day. The goal is to prepare your body, fuel yourself during your exercise for those moments later in the race, specifically on the bike in a triathlon. That's your biggest time frame of the race, to be able to take in extra nutrition that you need, extra hydration, so that when you do get out on the run, you don't just fall completely flat on your face. So again, I'm going to go over what works for me. I'm a couple years into using this and it just works for me. Knock on wood, I haven't had a race yet where I've just basically fallen on my face at the end. I followed my plan, and that's what you have to have. If you're going on any type of 2+ hour training or endurance activity, you really have to plan this out ahead of time. Make sure you hit your markers. It's more than just doing the training, executing out there. If you don't have proper nutrition to back it up, your race and your day is just going to fall apart. So basically, we're going to break it into a sub 1 hour training, 1 to 2 hour training block, and then the longer distances after that, 2+ hours up to that 70.3 distance, which may take you up there 6 to 8 hours, you know, to be out there. It's a lot of stuff you have to take in. But remember, if you plan it out ahead of time, it's one less thing you have to worry about on race day. And consistency is key with this. So whatever you're trying or whatever works during training, make sure you take that into that day. You'll have a much better day out there, a lot less to worry about. Remember, nothing new on race day. So the things that you do throughout your training is what you have to execute on race day. If there's something you're looking to change or something you didn't like last year in your nutrition plan before you go into that race, you need to train with that. That's why it's a great time when training plans take 12, 16, 20 weeks. Like the Ironman plan I'm coming up to, which starts in a week, is a 20-week plan. And it's a little outside my comfort zone. I'm now doubling the amount of time I'm going to be out there from my longest event, so I'm going to have to implement new things that I haven't done yet. So that's why I'm going to do that during my 20-week plan. So hopefully on race day I have everything set and we can have a great day and a great performance. So there'll be a couple different products that we're going to talk about: powdered products, gels, chewables, maybe some whole food options, and what the differences are and how we're going to mix them up. The products that I recommend and the ones that work for me are Infinit Nutrition products. They come in nice big bags, powdered form. I'll show you how I store them later in this video. The two that I'm going through this year are going to be GoFar and Jet Fuel. Very similar products. The good thing about Infinit Nutrition is when you go on their website, I'll put the link below, is you can customize what works for you as far as taste, the actual nutrients that are in there. You can custom blend your own. Do you want protein? Do you not want protein? It can get very overwhelming, trust me. When I first looked at what kind of powdered drinks I was going to use, I didn't know where to start. The great thing about Infinit Nutrition is they give you some baseline mixes that work for you. I have a lot of friends that do the custom blends. That works for them. I just didn't feel I had to go there yet. These work for me. There's a couple big differences between the ones that I use, Jet Fuel and GoFar, mainly the caffeine. Jet Fuel has caffeine in it and GoFar doesn't. So between the two of those, you don't have to just have one or the other. You can mix and match. So if I'm doing a 1 to 2 hour sprint event, sprint triathlon, I'm probably just going to load up my 1 or 2 bottles with jet fuel because it's a short duration event. The caffeine will give me the energy, and I won't fall off from that caffeine 2-3 hours into it, or have to maintain that consistency of just having that caffeine intake to be able to keep that up there. As I go further now and have 2, 3, 4 hours, what I may do is have a little bit of caffeine if it's an early morning race, but that may be in the form of coffee or something else, not necessarily from the jet fuel. Start with the Go Far product, which is going to give me that energy I need naturally without the caffeine and all the nutrients that are in it, and then taper into, on my last bottle or two, or my last hour or two of the race, to the jet fuel, so I can kind of ride that caffeine wave and get me that little bit of extra energy that I need towards the end of the event. I did try, which we went over in the BPN video, the G1M, Go One More by BPN. Very similar product to it, same amount of carbohydrates, different levels of magnesium. These are things you have to look at, between the two products. Very good. I just bought into Infinit already this year, so that's what I'm going to use. But there are other products out there that are very similar, but you do have to do a little research. You do have to go into the nutritional facts on the back of these and see what really the main differences are and what you're actually taking in. So if you're going to do something like a half Ironman event, you'll want to kind of map out exactly how many calories, how many carbs you're taking in throughout, so you can just get an idea. Because if that works for you that day, keep that plan and those numbers so you can use them again in the future. So even with these, you can look, there's a protein difference. So in the jet fuel, there's absolutely no protein. Basically, it's just giving you carbohydrates and caffeine. But the Go Far is meant for activities, and it even says it right on here, custom blended for activities over 3 hours. And even on the jet fuel, under 3 hours. So again, that's what I was telling you that difference is. The jet fuel I'll take to about a 2-hour event, and then the Go Far is what I use after that, going 2+ hours after, because it just gives me, I don't need that super amount of caffeine where I'm going to wind up crashing 2-3 hours into it. Because once you start going down that road of caffeine, you really need to maintain that. Because if you just drop your caffeine off midway through a race, you're just going to lose a lot of energy, a lot of mental focus, and you're going to have a bad day. Let's get into a few of the other things that I'll be talking about out there. I'm a big fan of the GU gels, mainly because they're very easy to store on the bike. I'll show you how I store those in a little bit. These are very easy as well to rip open, take them on the bike, stick them in your back pocket, and then empty them when you're at the next aid station. The Honey Stinger waffle, the only thing really, besides it tasting phenomenal, will be a quick snack before a race. Usually works very well for me. If I have a training session, I really haven't eaten anything, I'll just eat one of these real quick. Kind of hard to manipulate if you're on the bike or the run. It's just a big wrapper, and sometimes they're very crummy inside depending how they were packaged. But these worked great on the trail run that I did. At the aid stations, I brought a couple of these. They had these at the aid stations. It was just something a little more substantial than just using these gels or these chews that you have out there. And then, speaking of that, we have the GU chews as well. So these are good when I'm on the run. It's just something, a different type of texture you can have instead of the gels and the water. It gives you something a little more, I guess, satisfying to chew on while you're out there. And then you always have the whole food options. You have to read ahead, especially on the run, on what's going to be at the aid station. Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City, what saved me out there was when I got on the run, I was really starting to feel it. Some soda and bananas. They had cut bananas basically at every aid station. So about every 2 miles, I had a half a banana out there, and that worked for me that day. So that's one thing I really rely on now at my races is the bananas that are out there. They definitely give me what I need, prevent cramping, give me that energy, and that little bit more of a solid food that'll help me calm my stomach down. And one other product that is very easy to carry out there, super easy to carry and take with you, is a salt product. So you can get one of these small capsules. You can buy this. You can buy it filled with salt. You can fill it with electrolyte salt. But really what it is pink Himalayan sea salt. So if you buy a big bottle of crushed fine pink Himalayan sea salt, you can refill this all you want out there. This is really easy, preventing cramping. If you start to go down that road towards the end on your run where your muscles are starting to kind of lock up a little bit, or you just don't feel great out there, this is super easy and it's super effective. I mean, you almost feel this right away. And it's very simple. As you're running, you pop that top, you lick your finger, give it a little shake, it sticks to your thumb, you lick it, pop the top back into your back pocket or wherever you're carrying your stuff. Super effective. Anything in the summertime or 2+ hours, I'll just throw this in my back pocket, just because you never know. You never know if your body's a little more depleted of magnesium that day, and you may need this electrolyte salt in order to continue on and have your muscles operating properly. Another powder product that we didn't mention yet is Ultima Replenisher. This is great, just a regular electrolyte drink mix. This is something you can take throughout the day leading up to a race, get 1 or 2 glasses of this in throughout the week, just to overall boost your electrolyte balance, especially in the summertime, just daily activity, going to mow the lawn or something like that, and you have a training session later in the day. Just have this while you're out there. Definitely replaces those sugary drinks, the Gatorades and things like that. I'll take this if I'm training up to an hour in the summertime, or say you have that track session, that 45-minute, 50-minute training session. Just grab a water bottle, throw some water in it, throw this in there. That's usually all I use for that up to an hour. And the other thing I use this for is, even though the Infinit products are good tasting, they come in standard set flavors. So the thing with that is, you may not necessarily really like the orange, but you like the jet fuel product. Instead of going that little extra and getting a custom blend to make it fruit punch or something like that, I love this flavor, the cherry. So if I put a little bit of this into the bottle of my Infinit, it actually basically takes over the entire taste of that drink mix and makes it taste like cherry. And the other good thing about this as well, when I mix it with the Infinit products mix clear. So when you put this in it, it does make it that cherry color, so I can visually see my bottles when I'm on the bike and know exactly how much I have left. So let's review. We're going out there and we're going to train for up to an hour. What am I going to do? I'm probably going to take, if I'm going to the track, just a bottle of water. I'm going to throw in a scoop of Ultima electrolyte drink. Or if it's a really hot summer day, we're going on a run out on the road, I'll throw my Nathan bottle. This is a great bottle. You can carry it while you run. You just right here, you don't even know what's on you. I just hate carrying things when I run, and you'll see that in another video when I do my run products. But this works. You kind of just put it on your hand. You don't even know it's there. But I'll fill this up in the summertime for my sub-hour runs, just because it's so hot out and you know you're going to start sweating. And then I'll put a little bit of the electrolyte drink mix in. If we're going now, say a 2-hour bike ride or a 2-hour run, we're going to dip into the Infinit products that give us the carbohydrates that we need to keep on moving. Something up to 2 hours, depending on how much energy I need, I may just go straight with 1 bottle of jet fuel, which is the caffeine mix. Or I'll mix, and I don't want the full caffeine load, I only want it spread out amongst it. 1 serving size is usually 2 scoops out of the Infinit bag, so I'll do 2 bottles, a scoop of jet fuel in each, and then a scoop of GoFar in each to kind of blend the mix to give me just a steady amount of nutrients that I need as far as carbohydrates and the protein and caffeine, and just spread it out over the 2 hours. And anything out there, especially in the summertime, we'll have, just the 1 bottle per hour. So I'm going to try, if I go out for a 2-hour bike ride, I'm going to try and I'll bring 2 of these and I'll go through 1 an hour. And in the middle of that, I'll probably as well at the hour point or 50-minute, one of the goo gels. All right, now we're going longer, 3-4 hours. What do we need? If it's a training session, probably going to try and mock it as if this was, your actual race and what's available to you. So don't bring anything on that you're not going to be able to bring out on your race day, because again, you like to play as you train as you play type of thing, and have fun with it. But it's got to be consistent. So I'll do a bottle per hour. In between the midpoints, I'll do a gel. And if you have access to like having that banana out there, or have it in your bike jersey or something like that, then you could have that, because that's just something great that's going to settle your stomach during that longer activity. And then we're up to that 70.3 distance type training that you're going to have. So again, you want to think about pre-event and write all this down. Write down what works for you going into race day, so you don't wake up that morning and have to find something to eat. If it's 2 packets of oatmeal, which works well for me in those mornings, that's what I'll have. Maybe 2 packs of oatmeal and a banana. Stay hydrated. Maybe a gel before you get in the water, just to have something in your stomach absorbing while you're out there, because you might be out there for 40 minutes, well, 45 if you're me, a little slower. Or you might be, if you know you're a quick swimmer, 25, 30 minute 70.3 swimmer, maybe you don't need anything beforehand. But for me, I'll probably take something like that right before, and then I'll start hydrating as soon as I get on the bike. That bike time that you are out there on a 70.3 is key, because you're gonna have between 2.5, 3.5 hours, depending on your time. I have about a 2.5 hour window where I take in a lot of stuff. So I know I'm gonna try and go through 3 bottles at least. Most of the time I get through at least 2 up until that end of the bike when I'm on the run. So I'm already kind of ahead for the run. So I can settle into the first few miles. I've already looked ahead at the pre-race plan to see what's at those aid stations, whether it's those halves of banana. Try and plan out ahead of time. All right, miles 1 through 8, I'm gonna have the electrolyte drink that they have on course, and then maybe I'll start having some soda after that. Whatever you need, or have a backup plan if you're starting to go downhill quick. And I'll definitely, on the run is when I start dipping into that electrolyte salt, that pink Himalayan sea salt that I was telling you about. It definitely helps my legs, helps that cramping stay to a minimum, and gets me to that finish line a lot stronger. All right, so there you have it. Any questions, please, down below, drop them in the comments. I can always answer them in a blog post or just a future video. As my Ironman training starts, I'll get more into this during those vlogs throughout the week on how this nutrition plan is working for me, if I've changed anything up. So make sure you follow along with that. So now we're gonna take a walk. We're gonna go and I'm gonna show you the bike and where I keep all this stuff while we're out there training and racing. All right, welcome. So if you remember in the Pain Cave tour, this is where we keep all the bottles. So day of, if I know I'm going for a 2-hour bike ride, I'm gonna grab 2 bottles, nice and simple. And what I found easiest with the Infinit products is they last a little longer and easier to access if you kind of get them in some kind of Tupperware like this, as opposed to the bag that they come with. This is super easy to load up in the morning. You take out what you want, everything's labeled. If I know I'm going for that 2-hour bike ride and I want a nice mix of both, I'm going to do 1 scoop of the Go Far in each, and then I'm going to do 1 scoop of the jet fuel in each, and then we'll make our 2 bottles. We'll mix it up. When you mix this product, it mixes super easy and super fun. You don't have to worry about any clumps whatsoever. That's another great selling point about the Infinit products, is you don't have any clumping whatsoever in there. And then remember, what I'll probably do as well after a scoop of each in the bottles is add just a little scoop of that Ultima replenisher as well into each, just to give it that nice flavoring that I like. All right, after you fill your 2 bottles up with the product that you need, especially if I'm going into that 70.3 and I'm going to carry 3 bottles with me, we're going to fill up with whatever I'm using at the beginning of the bike already in my handlebar bottle, and I'll put 2 reserves in the back. If I'm doing a different type of mix for that last bottle, maybe a little extra caffeine to get me a little more pumped up before the run, I'll put a number on the bottles, number 1, number 2, so I know which order to take them in. Because you may be taking a different mix with a little more caffeine at the wrong time because you're out there and you just don't remember which bottle is which. Again, prepare your race the way you see it ahead of time. The more you script out this race and the more you put things in place or write things down and have a plan that day, the better it's going to be that day, and you're not going to have any problems out there. So I'll carry my 2 bottles in the back of the seat. And side note, Atlantic City 70.3. I had everything set up. I was out there, had a great bike going into the first loop of the bike, and what happened? The road got bumpy. I had a different type of cage system on the back of here, and both of these bottles, it was a lot easier on the old one to come off, ejected out the back, and I lost both my bottles. Talk about a shitty day. So you have to also prepare for that, because if these bottles go missing or leak or break or something out there, you have to have a backup plan. So what happened there was I planned on not taking anything while I was out on the bike course as far as from the aid stops or anything like that, which then had to turn into, you know, stopping, getting Gatorade that they had, filling up my bottle. But I knew right away that this was I think it was a 2.5 loop or 3 loop bike course, and it was only on the first loop I lost them, and I knew exactly where they came flying out. It actually worked for me the second time I passed by to just slow down a little bit, unclip, get off the bike, retrieve my 2 bottles, put them back in, and continue on the course. Then I was able to, at least for the second half of the bike, able to get a little bit more of the nutrition that I brought with me, and then carried one of the bottles shortly into the beginning of the run just to finish up what I had so I can kind of get back on pace and eat. So again, prepare for the failures you might have out there that you didn't expect to have. And then what do you do after that though? You have to learn from your lesson. So we don't want that to happen again. So we upgraded, got the Gorilla cages now on the back, which is just super strong. I haven't had any issues with that yet. But ever since then, all I did was add a little bit of stretch cord. So when the bottle goes in, I also put this little bit of stretch cord goes up and over the bottle, just like that. And this bottle will not come out of here. There's no way in heck. Now, when we're out there and we're training, I'm also practicing on how to reach behind me, kind of deactivate this little safety feature that I have that pulls off, and then I'm able to retrieve my bottle. Once the bottle goes back, if this goes flying off and it's empty, it is what it is. But you don't want to lose what you have in there when you're out, and that's going to make or break you for the day. As well, side note, I use right now the X-Lab Hydro Blade for my my front bottle. You know, it's got the straw right here. I'm able to tuck it in down out of the way when I'm out there riding. If anyone has a solution of a bottle that doesn't leak, because I'm in probably my 3rd or 4th handlebar bottle like this, that they still splash and leak around. I put the splash protector inside that yellow piece still, but still, no matter what you do, the front of this bike here just becomes sticky with carbohydrate mix at the end of the bike. So if you have anything out there that works that you think's better, any newer products, let me know. It's got to be something that kind of stays up like this because I have my computer out front. But anything you recommend, throw it down in the comments, let me know. Future video, what we'll do when we start getting this bike out on the road. I actually just took it off the wall for the first time. I've been out on my road bike recently, so I'm gonna have to tune this up, change some of the tires and tubes out, and get this road ready. Maybe we'll put that on a video so you can kind of see, you know, the process in that, and take it out for its maiden voyage this year. But there you go, that's the setup. This will take me for 70.3 out there. It'll get me my 3 bottles worth out on the bike. The good thing about this bike when I got it, it does have like a bento box built into it. So I can keep my gels down inside here now. You can fit easily 3, 4, 5 gels in here. Another thing I did on my older bike when I didn't have this was I'll line them up across the top tube with just a little bit of painter's tape around it. Make a tab so it's easy to take off. And then you're able to just take that little bit of tape off. You'll have your gel, you rip it, and then you can just put it in the back jersey pocket, the garbage, and get rid of it at the next aid stop. So again, think about these things ahead of time. Train as you're gonna race as you're gonna train, and you'll have a successful day. All right, I'm not gonna bore you too much with the technical specs of what's actually in the Infinit products. That's, you know, you're gonna have to do your research and you know, figure out what works best for you, how many carbs you need. And again, that's all about training with it. So if you find a mix that works, just go with it. It's that simple. If you find something that makes your stomach upset, abandon it, go find a different product. Again, this is what worked for me. This is what you know, I'm going to stick with throughout this year. But some of the technical aspects of the Infinit products is it's 2 scoops per serving, and between the Go Far and the jet fuel, you're looking at about 55 to 65 grams of carbohydrates per serving, which is, again, the serving is actually 2 scoops. 4 grams of protein in the Go Far versus 0 in the jet fuel. And then you have the caffeine, remember, in your jet fuel as opposed to the Go Far. And then also look at your magnesium levels. You want to be able to, you know, count throughout, you know, your nutrition plan for your 70.3 about how much magnesium you're taking in. The good part about the Ultima is if you know, look on it, the magnesium is 100 milligrams of magnesium, which is great. And sometimes the jet fuel only has 20 milligrams in it. So by adding this Ultima product to that, you're also adding a lot more magnesium into the mix. All right, so there you have it. I hope it's a good starting point for you and your nutrition plan and some ideas on what you need to take out there. Just don't overcomplicate it. It's really that simple. Find something that works as your training is getting longer. Stick with it, write it down if it works so you remember exactly what you used, and that's it. So if you found any value in this, make sure you like the video and also subscribe to the channel. 80% of you that are watching this haven't subscribed yet. So do me a favor, click that subscribe button. You can hit the bell for the notification. Every time I make a video, you'll get notified. And again, anything you have, or let me know what works for you as well. So mention down in the comments any products that you use, anything you want me to check out, any tips you have for me along the way. And that's it. So again, have fun out there. Weather's getting beautiful. Get that training in, that long training that you're going to be doing. Good luck at your races this year. And remember, just balance that life 1 mile at a time.